man, Radiostyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a phenomenal day. We're doing this show, I guess I'm calling it Manifestation 301, and Living in the End. I want to say a friend of mine brought something to my attention, a great video, actually, by a lady. I'm going to see if I can pronounce her name right. Her name is Agnes Vivarelli, I think. I don't know. She never says her last name, so I don't really know how she says it, but she's like British. She's got like an accent and talks all like silly. Not quite that dramatically British, but British. But needless to say, yeah. So I'm gonna give her some credit. So that'll be in the comments section or the show notes or whatever people call it. So I'll put a link to her channel because I think it's cool to give her creds. She's good stuff. And she's talking about this guy Neville Goddard. And she's quoting from, let's see if I got the right one, The Law and the Promise. And it's a very, very cool little snippet. So I just kind of wanted to cover the basics of what she's really talking about. And if, of course, you want to check out her videos, and any of her videos, I would highly recommend it. She's very, very good. But it also really gets into, at least, and this Neville Goddard guy, I think I said his name right, yeah. He also gets very into this. So like another great author. So anyway, needless to say, I've got the book. I haven't read much of it, but I do have the book. So I'm going to. That's my plan. So again, the little bit of music we just caught there, and it's like a really groovy part of the song, it's like lyrically, but it doesn't do the chorus, and I love this song. It's called Dreamer, and it's by Supertramp, and I don't know about you guys, but of all the tramps, those are the scary ones. You got to watch out. They got like superpowers, and they can do stuff like tramp style on you. Whoa, right? Scary. Also, we're going to be going out with Just My Imagination, right? The Temptations, kind of have to. Kind of fits and all that good stuff. So really the big secret with this whole shenanigans we call manifestation, you really need to work on, she calls it living in the, well, he calls it living in the end. And what that really means is you're already in the place that you have what you're trying to manifest, right? You're already there, you're already living in that space, and you're describing what's around you. You're already there. That is like when you hear in the spiritual circles, act as if you already have it, or you need to behave as if it's already yours, or all these kinds of things, as within, so without. There's another great example. All of these things are really along those lines, and really this is kind of, I think, a good way to sort of specify exactly what they mean by those phrases. And so let's give a couple examples, maybe three, but I think time-wise we're only going to have time for two. But let's just say, for example, you're trying to manifest a new house, right? You want to have a new house in your life. And so what a lot of us would do when we're trying to do the manifestation thing from the 101 or the 201 perspective is we imagine seeing the house, or we imagine maybe a couple of the rooms and what they look like, or we imagine the garage, the paint, or the whatever, maybe signing the loan documents, right? Very on the outside kind of aspects of living in the house. But living in the end, what Neville's talking about is actually being in the house and imagining that house. So you're imagining the rooms. You're imagining having neighbors coming over to watch the Super Bowl game and getting them chips out of the kitchen and bringing them down to them and them saying, I love your house. It's just really, really beautiful the way it's laid out. Or you imagine yourself pulling into your garage and where the tool bench is going to be and where your tools are, or doing maybe some yard work in the backyard where you're going to be putting in flowers and you've got your rose bushes and you've got all these things. Or maybe you imagine the nursery in the upstairs bedroom where your child-to-be is going to be coming, right? You imagine the kitchen. You imagine the range. You imagine cooking dinner for your wife or for if you're your husband, depending on, what sex of the, what side of the, what side of this you lie on. But exactly, I haven't had a chance to lift up legs, right, and check out what's going on. That's my point. So exactly, you imagine what you're living in. You imagine being there. You imagine everything you can, looking out the windows, the view you're going to have in the back, walking out of your bedroom out to and then down the stairs and noticing you've got two rooms off to the right before you start walking down the stairs. And then you walk into the entryway / family room or living room, and then you've got your dining room over there, and then you see the kitchen and the nook off to the... It's imagining living in that environment and being there. That is truly how you make these things manifest. Now, the story that she's referencing that I'm going to link in the show notes really gets into huge specifics about this couple, and I think it might be Neville. I didn't quite grasp that from the video. But basically, These people imagined this apartment complex. They imagined being able to make money off it. They imagined all the tenants. They imagined all the people saying, I love living here and all this and that. They had no money to make it happen. And yet this thing came to fruition in amazing ways. Now, it's a great example of really all of these things coming together. And again, as you raise your energy and as your emotions are right and all these things, they certainly help speed this process along. But imagination is really what gets us to the end game. Another great example is a car. A lot of us maybe want a new car, maybe want another car, maybe want a different car, maybe want to buy a car for your wife or your kid or whatever you got to do. Really, the thing that you want to do in the case of a car is you're not just going to imagine the car and the color of it and what it looks like and, the steering wheel and the stereo and maybe the little dash or whatever. But you're going to imagine maybe driving it on a road trip, maybe taking it up the road, maybe pulling it into your neighbor's garage, your friend's garage for a party or something, and then walking out and going, oh my God, your car is beautiful. I love it. And you're like, yeah, I just picked it up a few weeks ago. It's beautiful. You imagine the smell. You imagine the way the seats feel. And in the case of a car, if you're having a hard time imagining these things, really good thing, go down to a dealership, test drive one, sit in one, get that feeling, get that understanding, get that smell in your nose so you know what it's going to be like when that car is yours. Imagine that first road trip that you're taking, where you're going to go, where you'd like to drive to, what that experience is going to be like, listening to the sound system while you're driving, just be like, I love it. And like my car right now, I got a little USB stick. It's the best, right? So imagine yourself listening to crazy music, or you've got your TomTom navigations just taking you to where you need to go. Imagine what it's like to sit in the back seat even. Maybe as someone else is driving and you've got her friend sitting in the front seat and you're in the back. I say her because I'm a guy, right? Maybe it's the other way around, right? Maybe your husband's driving and you're in the back and his good friends up front, they're golf buddies, and you're in the back with his wife and you guys are about to go out to a wonderful dinner together in this new car, in this great sound system, in this awesome smell. Living in the end is about knowing that you have it already. But it's not in that knowing like, well, I have it, so I know it already. No, it's more like I'm imagining what it would be like to have that and knowing that that is now coming because of that imagination process. If you have a hard time with the big things, for some of you, maybe 101, I've got a couple other manifestation shows. Don't mind maybe going back to some of those. But for some of you that maybe are a little sketchy on the, it's too hard to do, or it can't be that easy. If you're like in that process at all, then do me a favor and start small. Start small and imagine something that's easier for you to do. Of course, this works with love. If you want a girlfriend, imagine the dates you're going to go on. Imagine where you're going to go. Imagine this individual, like when maybe you're having a child together. Imagine being in the hospital, and depending on if you're the man or the woman, which side of the bed you're on, basically. But imagine holding your child and looking into the loving eyes of your spouse. Imagine the feelings that you're going to have. Again, it's getting into the moment that you're trying to manifest. That's living in the end. Hopefully this makes some sense to all you guys. It's Dan Radiostyle. It's what I'm really into. Please make comments. I've been getting a lot of great comments lately in a lot of my shows, and I'm absolutely enjoying it. Got some great people out there that are seem to be enjoying what I'm doing. I'm going to keep doing this, and I certainly enjoy it. If you guys have questions, throw questions in the comments section, and it'll make for great future shows down the road. And of course, if you want to email me, feel free to do so at spiritradiodanstyle@gmail.com. And again, all the things I talked about are going to be linked in the show notes or the comments section right below. So please feel free to check those out and check out this video of this Agnes Vivali, whatever her name is. She's British. It's very cool. But thank you very much for joining me. Going out with the Temptations. It's just my imagination.
But it was just my imagination.